do you personally have like a shelter or a safe corner in your home, or is that something that if you don't have it, that most Russians have to have living in this area?
Well, every city block has underground sort of shelters in the
Hmm.
building, the old Soviet kind of infrastructure. There are designated structures to go to when if the shelling got intensified. I've never had to go to one, and generally you're advised to take cover behind a concrete wall where their glass shattering may not hit you, right? Um, so I can't say that I respond all that much to it. There'll be sometimes a TV will kick in and advise that there's a rocket, and it's probably better to take precautions when it's rocket because they're a little bit more dangerous in terms of debris that could be flying through the sky, and this large debris. I mean, it'll take out chunks of a building if it falls on a building. So
Right.
today, I'm not even sure what attacks. There's been just so many in the region, along from here all the way to Kursk region, Belgorod. My understanding it's been pretty active air defense protocols in place.
Good. I remember after I went to see you, I went to Kursk, and I heard lots of air raid sirens. You guys have that as well, and how does that? How does your family respond to that? What is that like?
Yeah, we do get those. They're probably not as plentiful as what Kursk gets, but we
Hmm.
do have them from time to time.
Right.
Generally, like you say, you don't want to be near a window, and it's probably not a good time to be out on the streets.
Okay. So, how often has shelling happened in your area, like in the past month, let's say?
It's probably too numerous to even count, or you just grow accustomed to it. And I've stopped counting a long time ago of attacks that have been happening.
Wow. So, are people moving out, or what? I mean, is it just something like you just get used to it, like you said last year?
Uh, I don't know of anybody moving away because of these attacks. Like I
Okay.
said, there's a pretty successful rate of downing these attacks. So
Hmm.
I can't speak for the people who live directly on the border. I would imagine that from time to time they do get evacuated when there's a heightened awareness that an attack is imminent. But you definitely do hear of people getting injured, and towns that suffer attacks that it damaged this building, and that house got destroyed. Part of the house got destroyed, or a person got injured, and they're being medically assisted. And I have family here. I drive my grandfather often to the hospital where I'm waiting for an appointment, and and like I said, I have a military background in healthcare, so I understand there's different roles of healthcare when dealing with war or conflict. The World One medical stuff is all out on the front line, and when you're at a medical appointment, that's kind of generally what they call a World Four in the rear, and you still see military vehicles that are sometimes delivering people for care, and it's not necessarily needing to be a soldier. It could be someone who got injured by a drone attack on the border regions, and they need a higher level of care, so they'll be evacuated to for care to Bryansk.
Hmm.
Yeah, so you do see it, and you do see a lot of military works out there in order to stop the attacks, and my hats off to them because they generally do a very good job, and whether it be drones or the rockets, and it's not an easy job because these things are incredibly difficult to probably intercept. They're flying low, fast, and they affect the morale. So there's no doubt it has an effect on people's morale.
Right. 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 So, I mean, I grew up in Florida where we have hurricanes often, and after a hurricane, the next day you might drive through the city and see where a tornado has destroyed a building or a house or thrown stuff through cars. Is it something like that where from time to time you're driving through and you see damage from the night before?
Uh, I mean, I've seen houses with burnt out roofs because of something hit the house, and I can't confirm whether it was a drone or a rocket
Mm.
shrapnel. And you have seen sometimes where emergency, like there's an emergency management service that responds to conflicts or occurrences, and so you may see like a checkpoint where they're diverting traffic temporarily. Um, but not that often, and like I said, probably more so along the border regions.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Right.
I still
Uh,
move freely about. I'm not concerned about.
so I remember early on, before I met you, you had a video where you interviewed, I think, a father whose son had had perished due to, I think, an attack where their home caught fire and part of the home collapsed in on the family. Is that correct? Or am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, that's probably one of the first videos I did where I promised my audience that I would start making reports in the Bryansk region. And that was in a town called Starodub,
Mm-hmm.
very much on the border. And it was a drone that attacked a house. I believe the child's name was Ilya. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he did perish in that drone attack. And that drone attack occurred right beside a school.
Wow.
And it
So
was
you have
the house was
firsthand
gone.
experience talking to a family that has lost a child from this conflict. And you have
That's
you have
one of those things.
military medical training. Are you ever called upon to assist with medical needs from these attacks?
No, no, no. They have their own medical services, and there's obviously medical teams that are in the military to support what's going on. I do
Mm-hmm.
have experience in combat medicine, which is basically mostly, the first hour of care. It's critical
Mm-hmm.
to anybody who's injured, and the first aid. We called it TCCC, which was tactical combat casualty care.
Mm-hmm.
And most of that revolves around actually not providing medicine. It's mostly about tourniquet and stopping wounds from, people bleeding out. So that's the most critical thing to do in a
Right, right.
situation like that, is to stop the
Emergency.
bleeding.
Have you received any support measures from the authorities as far as in regards to this situation, living in this zone?
Not really. No, nothing specifically in terms of me personally. And there's just public awareness, whether it's provided through Telegram, what people should do. And there's definitely resources available for people who need to know what to do if there's, someone who's injured due to that sort of thing. But in fact, a lot of that is covered. And like, I'm going to promote myself here in terms of some accomplishment I achieved in Russia. One of the big things I was stressing out for a long time is not having a driver's license from Russia. And I
Mm-hmm.
did manage to get my driver's license in Russia in the Russian language.
Oh
And
wow.
there's a tremendous amount of focus on first aid and knowing first aid within the driver's course. So, yeah, I did that, and that's I'm pretty proud of that achievement actually to do a driver's license in Russia. I have that license now, and I'm pretty happy about that. And it was very good to do because there's differences in terms of driving in Canada than Russia in terms of rules and regulations and stuff. So, yeah. I was
So
pretty
you
happy
speak
to do it. I
Russian?
took a driving course. I don't speak Russian fluently. I understand a significant, a baseline of Russian. I understand. I've been learning for quite a bit of time. I do take a significant amount of time every day to try and learn the language.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very interesting language to learn. Culturally, there's so much. It's like peeling back an onion where layers and layers and layers. And then,
Right.
what's really fascinating about the language is the development of what you start to perceive versus what you used to know. And, it's rewarding, very rewarding.